Hello and welcome to another exciting school year. My name is Petra Schoenfeld and I am a teacher of the Deaf and Hard of Hearing with Lane Education Service District. Today we're going to be talking about how you can make your classroom, your virtual classroom, accessible for our deaf and hard of hearing students. And I know that you've been bombarded with a lot of new information at the beginning of the school year. And so I hope to keep this short and sweet and just very simple things that will make your life a little bit easier. So when we do this, these are tips for an accessible video call specifically. So when you're setting up your video calls, the very first thing you need to do, step one, check your camera. Make sure that you have a good camera on your laptop, that it's at a good angle. You can see the top of my head and the middle of my torso. This is a good spot for students to be able to see you. You want to make sure that you're not seeing just your torso or just a floating head. This will help kids stay more attuned and on focus. Secondly, you can notice that I have a plain background and a solid shirt. This really helps students be able to focus on you and not what's going on behind you in your house. I'm not seeing bookshelves. I'm not seeing someone's kitchen with dirty dishes. We just have a solid background. And please, I know it is so fun to use the electronic backgrounds on Zoom, but that really makes it hard for our students to see your face because sometimes it goes in and out of view with the electronic background program. So please avoid those as much as possible. The next thing we're going to talk about is lighting. Make sure that you have a good light system. So for me, I had to move my entire desk around so that I have the window light on my face and not behind me. When you have light coming from behind you, it causes a lot of shadows on your face. So make sure that your light source is in front of you. Next, we're going to talk about microphones. Make sure that your laptop or the headset that you're using has a good, clear microphone. And also, please make sure that your students are muted when you are doing instruction time. When it's time for group discussions, please make sure that you have a policy of only one student talks at a time. It is really difficult for our deaf and hard of hearing students when they are on a Zoom call with a whole bunch of different people in the gallery. If multiple people are talking at the same time, they can't focus and they can't find that person quick enough. So please make sure that we only have one speaker at a time. The next thing we're going to talk about is closed captioning. Now, I know that this can be a little tricky and also can be a little bit scary sometimes if you've never used it, if you don't know how it works. But please work with your teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing. They can give you different resources for many different closed captioning options. They can talk about what your particular student is hearing and what their specific needs are. So please contact your teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing to set up closed captioning and utilize that as much as possible. Next, we're going to talk about our pacing. Oftentimes, it's really easy for teachers to just get in the groove and go really fast and just mow through whatever their lesson is, especially since we only have a few minutes of engagement from our students. But I would please recommend that you remember to slow down a little bit because our captioning systems are picking up what you are saying, and if you go very quickly, it's not going to be able to keep up with you. And we have some students who have processing issues, and so they need just a little bit more time to process what you've said. This will help facilitate a better learning and better communication within group conversations. So back to what I was saying before about how hard it is for our students to understand what's going on when we have so many people talking and we're in gallery view of the Zoom. If you can set up a policy of students saying their own names before they ask a question or comment on what's going on, that's going to give our students time to find who is talking and be able to see their face, be able to engage a little bit better. This also allows those who are using captioning system to read someone's name and then know who is saying the comment or the question. This also can allow our interpreters, if you have a student that has an interpreter, to be able to better facilitate communication and to relay information if they know who's speaking first. And please, if you are able to repeat anything that your students say, any questions or comments they have, sometimes it's good for our students who may not have caught it the first time because a student might not have an accessible microphone or they didn't talk loud enough or slow enough. So if you are able to repeat questions and comments, that will help our students immensely as well. So to recap, please make sure that you have a camera that is working and that you have a good angle, good light, great background. Please make sure that the microphones are working, that you have one speaker at a time. Utilize captioning as much as possible. This will really help clarify any things that a student might have missed. And 4, please remember to slow down and keep your pacing moderate. Repeat anything that a student has said and use your students' names as much as possible. Right now, it's difficult for us to build a community not being face-to-face because our students are not seeing each other in the classroom. They're not playing on the playground. They're not eating lunch together. So if they can learn each other's names by using them as much as possible, that will go a long way to building a community. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn a little bit more about how you can make your classroom accessible. If you go to the next slide, it'll have a website that you can go to learn just a little bit more when you have the opportunity. Thank you so much, and please reach out to your teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing if you have any questions or any concerns. We are here to support you. Thank you.